Hello, my name is Kristen Castro. Have you all ever thought about how expensive universities are? How much it costs you to attend a university, even a community college? Imagine saving thousands of dollars on tuition and fees for college and avoiding student loans and having to pay back loads and loads of interest on them. Here you are paying thousands of dollars on an education only to get a great job and pay back all you owe and more. How would it feel being able to attend a state university free of cost? Would the type of education be the same? How would the universities pay for anything without collecting tuition and fees from students? Institutions of higher learning are not the easiest thing to pay for. All of us have had an experience with a college or university and figuring out the financial side of our education. We must crunch the numbers and come up with a solution as to how to pay for our education. We are constantly being told to further our education so we can get a better job with better pay. We invest so much money in our education. When it comes time to start our careers, the money we earn from our good paying jobs goes directly back into the student loans or paying off our education. What if state universities were free to attend? Would all be attending state universities? Would all be educated and have an equal opportunity to the same education? As a college student myself, paying for tuition through student loans, I know how much it would help financially if state universities would have free tuition and admission. I currently attend a private university and a community college, and I had to take out government loans as well as private loans to be able to pay for my education. I had to do a lot of my own research to be able to choose a university that would accommodate my needs as well as being able to afford it. I also had to do a lot of research on where and from whom I would apply for student loans. Free tuition and admission to state universities will improve the enrollment in institutions of higher learning. Not only will it give a better opportunity to those who cannot afford higher education, but it might give our world a higher standard of living. Many people will be educated and be able to fill jobs. This could eventually lead to less poverty in the world. Therefore, I will explain the benefits of free tuition and admission to state universities. I will begin with the affordability to offer free tuition and student loan debt, public and private universities, some pitfalls to free public universities, and finally some ways we can make this possible. To begin with, the cost of free tuition and current debts that the students have. According to the Washington Post, the Occupy the Student Debt campaign is calling for free public higher education and to write off existing debt, so students would be forgiven of that debt that they owe on their student loans. But making public colleges free would cost an estimated $30 billion a year. But we must also take into consideration the long-term effects. In the long run, the estimated student loan would not be anywhere near $1 trillion that we owe right now. So if we offer free admission and tuition to public universities, we would be actually saving our government a whole lot of money because we wouldn't have that student debt. In our modern world, the cycle that we go through is to go to school, get an education so we can get a good job. And with this good job, we have to pay for our education and the interest that we owe on those student loans that we had originally used to pay for our degrees. According to the Washington Post, these debts weigh down not only the holder, but the entire economy. Students now graduate with a burden that forecloses choices. More and more are forced to return home to live. Marriage becomes less manageable, public interest work is less affordable, and as Pam Brown, an organizer with the Occupy Student Debt campaign, put it, the debt makes us very individual. We can't afford to help someone else. How can we afford to help anyone else when we're paying off our own debt? Now that we have established that we can afford to make public universities free, let us look at public universities, private universities, and what good can come from both. Of course, private universities would have to compete with the free cost of public universities, but diversity is good in a society. According to the Washington Post, free public colleges might slow the rise of private college costs, as it would have to compete with the free offerings of public schools. Just because a state university would be free to attend does not mean that you have to attend that university. If a student would like the feel and education of a private university, smaller class sizes, a smaller faculty to student ratio, then he or she does have every right and opportunity to pursue that type of education. The cost of a private education is going to rise in comparison to anything public. With a rise in education comes an increase in a better educated society and a better workforce. Not only young people, but older people as well can become successful business people, more engaged with the community, and not be burdened by debt. The idea of public education has been around for a while. We currently have a public education system for grades kinder through 12th grade. Free public universities will also create a better assurance for troops coming back from war to be able to get an education and eventually move on to a better job. Now that we have seen the roots and benefits of a free education for all, let us look at the downside to tuition for universities. The quality of education is a big question. Universities still need money to operate and function to the best of their ability. Considering that students will not have to pay to get an education, where would the money come from? It is only natural for one to think that certain advanced classes students would have to pay for, classes that include labs, special equipment, and any additional materials that may cost the student. This is only because, as mentioned earlier, the university needs to be able to provide the equipment and resources necessary to conduct an advanced class like this. So let's say a chemistry class, an advanced chemistry class that requires so many lab materials and equipment. Where would the university get money to pay for all of this? Although this is a great idea for pushing students to continue their education, it is only the start to getting them into college. Another program should focus on helping students complete college, not just start it. Paul Atwell, a professor at the City University of New York Graduate Center who studies the sociology of education, said, "State lawmakers should focus on where to spend state dollars to increase the number of students who actually graduate from college." Then there is also the idea of transportation for students. Even though this public universities are free, how will these students be able to attend class if they have no means of transportation? This is something they would have to pay for, but this is only a small cost in comparison to the cost of a tuition for a foreign university. Atwell also had the idea of using public dollars to support counselor and advisors that will help students not only begin college, but actually finish and graduate with degrees in hand. There may be some downsides to this movement, but they are small in comparison to the ways that we can make this work. Free universities are not as difficult and shocking as they sound. According to Forbes magazine, the idea of using volunteers to teach classes would help with free public universities. Colleges can blur the distinction between faculty, students, town, and gown. In an online environment, there is no limit on the number of classes that can be taught, and no reason to restrict class offerings to only those taught by paid employees. This is called crowdsourcing. Who better to teach a topic than somebody who has a love and a passion for that topic? The advantage to crowdsourcing is that the best tend to come forward and lead the way. So somebody who is completely passionate about English or Shakespeare or Hamlet, wouldn't they be the best people to teach that class? Wouldn't they be the people that are most qualified per se to be able to get all that information out into the world and into the head and be that knowledge to those students? One way to reduce the cost of higher education is to make everything automated. An automated grading system is more accurate, less time consuming, and it's cheaper. Even when automated grading is impossible, reducing the cost of grading is possible by outsourcing grading to different countries such as the Philippines. In addition to using an automated system, the university can be an online university. There are currently some colleges and universities that are just based on online courses, but students still have to pay tuition for them. If tuition became free, the online option would probably become even more popular. This option allows students to work with whatever schedule they have and still be able to attend school and finish with a degree. This would probably work best for working families, mothers, fathers, people that already have a family and they would like to go back to school and finish their degree so that they can provide even better for that family. Online classes will see an increase in enrollment because those that truly want the free education and cannot afford it will do anything and make any time to complete these classes and take advantage of the free university. Now that you have seen an overview of the idea of free state universities, it is time to wrap it up and leave you with this new idea. How you can encourage and add to the possibility of it is now in your head. As you can see, our society can clearly benefit from a better educated community. It is possible to make this available in our world today with all the technology we have at our fingertips. Although there may still be some kinks to work out, free tuition sounds like a saving grace to us college students buried in student loans and debt. I'm sure there are also more ways to put this plan into action, but starting with some volunteers and online classes sounds very reasonable. I know we will be paying more attention to legislation and keeping a close eye on a bill to make this free public university pass. To quote Herbert Spencer, "The great aim of education is not knowledge but action." Us as students must take action for the next generation and maybe even our own children so that they may have the opportunity to attend a university with much more ease than ourselves and not have the burden of debt weighing on their shoulders. I hope you take this into consideration and think about it. Thank you.